Okay, we've all been there, right? A project completely tanks, a launch just flops, a system breaks down at the worst possible moment. That feeling? It's just awful. And the fallout? Even worse. But what if? What if we've been looking at failure all wrong this whole time? Let's dig into a powerful new way of thinking that can turn those painful mistakes into, believe it or not, your greatest asset.
It really all boils down to this one question. Why is it that when something goes wrong, it feels so catastrophic? I mean, really think about it. Is all that emotional weight, that sinking feeling in your gut, actually helping us fix anything? Or is it just getting in the way?
So you've got two paths you can take. On one side, you have the typical emotional response, right? Blame, shame, burnout. And you know what that leads to? Just making the same mistake again and again. But then on the other side, there's what we're calling the builder's response. This is totally different. It sees failure not as some kind of personal judgment, but as pure data, a source of clarity, a chance to build resilience. It is literally the difference between hitting a dead end and finding a launch pad.
Okay, so how do we actually make that shift? How do we get from that dead end to the launch pad? Well, it all starts with changing one simple thing, the question we ask ourselves and our teams when something goes wrong. And this tiny shift in language, it's the key to the whole shebang.
So here's the default setting for pretty much every team everywhere. It seems so logical, doesn't it? Why did this fail? I mean, of course you'd ask that. You want to find the cause. But that question, as innocent as it sounds, sets a really dangerous trap.
And here's exactly why it's a trap. The second you ask why, what happens? People's guards go straight up. It immediately invites finger-pointing and defensiveness. The focus instantly shifts to auditing the past, trying to find a culprit, instead of designing a better future. And that's what keeps you stuck in a loop.
But what if we ask this instead? This question right here is the absolute game changer. The focus immediately shifts from who is at fault to what part of our system or our process or our assumptions just got exposed as weak. See the difference? It's a question that invites curiosity, not fear.
And this comparison just lays it all out crystal clear. Asking why, that just creates scars. It creates a fear of trying anything new again. But asking, what did this expose? That builds infrastructure. It turns a painful one-time event into a durable, system-wide improvement for the future.
Here's a great way to think about it. The GPS analogy. When you take a wrong turn, does your GPS start yelling at you, "Why did you turn there?" Of course not. It doesn't waste a single second analyzing why you got distracted. It just accepts your new location as new data and instantly recalculates a better path forward. That right there is exactly what the builder's mindset does with failure.
So once you start asking this better question, something amazing happens. Failures stop being just random, frustrating noise. They transform into clear signals. But what are those signals exactly? What are we supposed to be looking for in the wreckage?
Well, it turns out there are 5 really crucial design signals that these breakdowns reveal. Think of them as the hidden cracks in your foundation that a failure suddenly makes visible for everyone to see.
And here they are, the big 5. First, you've got missing assumptions. Was there something we all just assumed was true that wasn't? Then there are weak or broken connections. Basically, a communication breakdown between teams. Third, misaligned incentives. Were people actually rewarded for doing the wrong thing? Number 4, unclear ownership. Did anyone really own this outcome, or did it fall through the cracks? And finally, hidden constraints. Were there limits on our time, our money, our tech that we just never saw coming? And I love this metaphor of a swaying bridge. I mean, if you're a driver on that bridge, it's absolutely terrifying, right? But to an engineer, that swaying is critical data. It's not a disaster, it's a diagnostic. It's exposing those hidden constraints, maybe wind speeds they never planned for, and the weak connections in the joints. See, the failure doesn't just need a quick patch. It's actually handing you the exact blueprint for how to make the whole thing stronger.
All right, so we get the mindset. We know what signals to look for. Now for the really important part, the how. How do you actually put this into practice when things go wrong on a Tuesday afternoon? Well, there's a clear 5-step blueprint for that.
Okay, step 1 is simple. You reframe the question. Ask, what did this expose? Step 2, you make the problem visible. Get it up on a whiteboard, draw it out. This takes it out of the emotional realm and makes it a structural problem you can all look at together. Step 3, identify the design gap. Give it a name, be specific. Is it a process that doesn't scale? Great, write that down. Step 4,
You have to confirm the intent to build. Get everyone to commit to actually fixing it, not just finding comfort or pointing fingers. And finally, step 5, you prototype the fix. You're aiming for testable progress here, not some perfect, impossible solution.
And this idea of prototyping versus perfection is so important. The perfectionist mindset, that's like engraving in stone. Every single move feels permanent and scary, and mistakes are dreaded. But the builder's mindset, that's like sketching in pencil. You can make small adjustments, you can erase, you can try things. You're aiming for real, testable progress, not some static, unchangeable certainty.
And you know what the metric for success is? It's beautifully simple. You're not asking, is this a perfect, flawless fix? No, you're just asking one thing. Does this work better than it did before? That's it. This is how you make progress. This is how you iterate without burning out. You're turning those mistakes into better systems, not emotional scars.
So, let's zoom out for a second. What happens when an entire team or even a whole organization starts to operate this way? The long-term rewards are, well, they're transformative. You literally start turning that constant grinding friction of everyday work into a stronger, more resilient, better designed structure.
Just imagine what this looks like in practice. You have teams that can iterate without hitting total burnout. You have communities where people can learn and grow without shame. You get leaders who model clarity instead of trying to control everything. You get systems that actually improve on their own without needing a constant crisis to force a change. And maybe, best of all, you finally stop making the same dumb mistakes over and over again. And this really brings us to a powerful closing thought. Having the best intentions, it's just not enough. The future doesn't belong to people who mean well. It belongs to the builders, the ones who can take the inevitable friction of reality and actually forge it into a better form.
So, I'll leave you with this question to chew on. What's that one recurring problem, that one point of friction in your world right now, and how could you, maybe even starting today, begin to reframe it? Not as a personal failure, but as a clear signal, a signal that's showing you exactly what you need to build next.